morning, ma'am. This is our report in Understanding the Self. The title is The Western and Eastern Concept of Self. The Western conceptualization of the self is divided into three periods of historical development, while the Eastern concept of the self are presented based on a four-great system of Eastern thought: Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. Western concept the self are presented in the four great system. Mao ni siya ang Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism and Taoism. Western concept of self. Gertz van Miegel, 2008, defines the Western concept of self as a bounded, unique, more or less integrated, motivational, and cognitive universe, a dynamic center of awareness, emotion, judgment, and action organized into a distinctive whole and set contrastively both against others such as wholes and against a social and natural background. These constructions of an autonomous, unitary, and stable self in the West is grounded in a contrasting assumption that non-Western such as Eastern people do not possess an individual self that is differentiated from the other. Western self as analytic. Of thinking is analytic, deductive, and emphasis on the social links, part of whole relationships. The whole is understood when differentiated into parts. One must categorize and makes distinction to pursue cause. Western self as monotheistic. The belief in one supreme being coexistent with the universe condenses the supernatural and human capabilities into bipolarity of both qualities of existence, e.g. beautiful, ugly, kind, cruel, sacred, profane, strong, and weak, etc. Western self as individualistic. Western individualism exhibits the coexistence of favorable and unfavorable conditions inherent in personal freedom. Western self as materialistic and rationalistic. The Western way of thinking is focused on the material things and favors a rational, empirical approach over magical and superstitious explanations of immaterial things. David Ho, 1995, described the Western self as an individualistic self that is to be aware of itself as weaknesses of direction, purpose, and volition. The self is located at the center within the seen as. An entity distinct from other selves and all other entities. This implies that the self belongs to the individual and to no other. Frank Johnson, 1985, traces the earliest historical roots of the Western concept of the self to works on philosophy almost half a million years ago. The historical development of the Western concept of self. So, muli siya ang mga stage period and historical development during the Western concept of self. Stage 1, period pre-Christian times until 1850. Historical development. There were philosophical and logical attempts to characterize the self through the concept of soul and mind, with emphasis on conscious experience of the individual, distinction between physical and mental nature of man, mind-body dualism, and causality of human behavior. 2. 1850 to 1940, the concept of self re-emerged within the social interactionalist framework in the early 1900 century. 3. 1940 to 1940 presence. Sociological and physiological theories of self encompasses all three levels of self, namely inner self, interpersonal self, and social self. P. Existentialists and phenomenologists, both in philosophy and psychology, engage in holistic approach integrating the inner, interpersonal, and social aspect of self. At present, there is a convergence in some conceptualization of the self among psychology, anthropologists, sociologists, philosophers, and linguistics. Studies focus on the actual motivate and situational context of the self, employing new framework and methodologies.
The arrangement of the comparative matrix of Western and Eastern approaches to understanding the self. First is the dimension, and then the thought of Western and Eastern thought. So these are the example frame of reference In Western thoughts, there is a separation between philosophy and religion spiritually. And the example of philosophy and religion is scholasticism, rationalism, empiricism, phenomenology. And these are the notable philosophers: Greek triumvirate, Socrates, as we read in the article, Plato, Aristotle, René Descartes, and John Locke. The source of knowledge has made use of reason rather than faith to pursue wisdom. Modes of cognition: analytic and deductive. And emphasis of that distinction and opposition. View of the universe and life: linear. View of self is egocentric. Subject, object, distinction, dualism of self and subject, knowledge and self as object, bipolar qualities of self. So, example of bipolars is something that someone kanang has attitude that get angry or sign of angry and mood swing like that. Theological view: monotheistic, ideal self-educations through personal growth. So these are the Western thought, and here are the Eastern thought. First is religion and philosophy intertwined. In Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Theoism, the example of their their belief. So we have a Hinduism, like here's the in Philippines we have a Muslim, and their notable philosopher Confucius, Lao Tzu, Siddhartha Gautama. Buddha has trusted institution and is often associated. Systematic and inductive. Commonalities and harmonies. Circular, sociocentric, simultaneously subject and the experience of self and both the knower. Known, polytheistic, or to achieve a balanced life and find one's role in society. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, afternoon everyone. I am here to discuss about the self-informed grid system of Eastern thought, Hinduism. The Hindu concept of self expounded in Vedanta. Hindu means a person who believes in the religion called Hinduism. It has been stated that Brahman is an absolute reality, an Atman, soul, or spirit, as the result of failure to realize the distinction between true self, permanent and unchanging, and the non-true self, impermanent and changes continually. Example of permanent is your appearance, while in non-permanent is your attitude. The law of karma is the most important doctrine in Hinduism. When we talk about karma, it explains that our past actions affect us either positively or negatively, and that our present action will affect us in the future. Buddhism: Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, is the founder of Buddhism. Bad meaning to awake. Or noble truths. Life is suffering. All of things a person goes through in life cause suffering, and they cannot do anything about it. But some people enjoy their life through temporary happiness. Suffering is caused by attachment to desire. Suffering can be eliminated. Elimination of suffering is through the practice of the eightfold: right view, right aspiration, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Confucianism: the Confucian doctrines are found in Analects. The core of Confucian thought is the golden rule are the principle of reciprocity. Do to others what you would not want others do to you. 5 cardinals relationship between ruler and administrator, between father and son, between husband and wife, between brother and between friends. Hence, the selfish known as a relational self